Welcome to yet another podcast by A&I. We today have two dynamic and young architects, Amulya and Prashanthi, with us from Design Talent. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for inviting us. It's
Pleasure is
a
all
pleasure
ours.
to be on the show.
The pleasure is all ours. So, want to understand how did you start your journey into architecture? What led you to become architects?
So, my father is a civil engineer. So, from my childhood, I've had this thing of visiting the sites that he is taking care of. And then it somehow started as his interest that I become an architect. But as I pursued the course, I definitely fell in love with it. So, I think that's how I became an architect at the end of it.
Awesome. How about you?
For me, so growing up, I've always been passionate about art. I've loved painting. So I think architecture came organically. As everybody else, I think my family was not really keen on me picking architecture. They wanted me to do engineering, but I think it ended up being a good choice.
Like any other South Indian family, or at least
Yes.
in
Yeah.
Hyderabad, we say that you knock a door and you find one engineer
Yeah.
in every house.
Yes.
So, but you decided to choose your passion, and then probably you're here today. Awesome. So how did Design Dialogue came into existence? When did you guys meet, and how did the entire journey start?
Prashanthi and I have known each other since the time we were in undergrad. So we were college classmates back then. And it so happened that we also coincidentally worked at the same places. And I think every time we worked together, the sync was just perfect. Like we understood each other's working style and what we're good at, and we complemented each other very well. So, and then one day Prashanthi brings up this idea as to why not we start something together. Why did
So
you-
and then it just flowed. Like after that discussion, it was just one project after another that led to this.
Awesome. So a lot of times, it's usually said that that do not do business, or do not work with someone you're really close with, because that spoils your relations.
Right.
Right. So how has it been in your case? You've been good friends and then working together. So has it impacted your relationships, or have your relations evolved from there?
I think I would definitely say it has evolved. We understand each other's strengths better, so we complement each other well that way.
So basically, it's two people working on a single with a
Right.
single
Vision.
vision and a single
Yes.
agenda.
Right.
So what would you suggest to someone, let's say someone starting off? So is it good to start as an individual, or probably team up with a friend or someone and then do it? What would you suggest to probably a beginner?
I think it's never this or that situation. It's very person specific. So it like Prashanthi mentioned, it organically worked for us. It was never really a part of the plan that we wanted a partner and then we set out looking for a partner and then found each other.
But
So-
does it make your life easy any which ways having a partner?
Definitely.
Right. So that's what.
Having each other's back, like there would be days then when I may not be able to show up, but she is there to fill up my place.
Right.
And same way. And it goes without saying the understanding that we have.
Right.
Touch wood, but
Touch wood. Yeah. So the first project always is very, very special. It's like a first love, right? So would you want to throw some light on your first project as to how did you get it, your hustle towards it, and how how did you deliver it?
So I think one of the first few projects that we worked on, and something that was very memorable for us, was Kahani. It's actually a tea cafe that we've done in Sainikpuri. So right from the design brief that we've received to the end outcome until we finished the photo shoot, it was a very I would say like an amazing experience that we've had. There were times when we worked like really late in the night, but it was never tiring. Like I remember both of us being equally excited at 12 o'clock or something, on a call and trying to discuss the designs and being as excited as we have been on day one when we've gotten the project.
Right. So that's the spark of your first love,
Right,
and
right.
you're really passionate about
Exactly.
things.
Yeah.
You don't mind doing the minutest of things, which probably today you might not do as well, right? You might
Yeah.
delegate it to someone, but
Yeah.
during the first project, you feel like that everything is like, you want to get into every single detail, get it done.
So that project, the slightest of the selections that need to be done, it was either of us. So when we
Right.
started out, it was just the two of us.
Yes. So something very emotional, something very close to your heart.
It was never tiring. It only fueled us more each day.
True. I know. No matter how big projects you do after that, the first one is always going to be a special one. It's going to be a memorable one. Probably, how many years you been in the business now?
Since we started Design Dialogue, it's been about 7 years. We've done 7 very soon.
So now 7-8 years, you must have done bigger projects than that. But that first project, the feeling is different, and it's very, very special.
It is.
Right. So, as a firm, is there a design philosophy that you guys follow, a certain pattern or certain thing?
I think that is something that we've gone back and forth multiple times to reflect on. And one thing that we've realized is, as a firm and a design practice, we really want to be very versatile in everything that we do.
Mhm.
So we don't really want our signature to be there everywhere, but more so to do with how the client needs that space.
Okay.
So that's, I think, the way we work.
So when you say as the client needs, right now, so this brings a very funny question, but so technology has its own advantages and disadvantages. At least in your industry, what I believe, a lot of Pinterest designers have come up, and let's say every household who want to get his house done already has some Pinterest images and stuff. Without I know that that they don't understand what exactly goes behind it, the kind of the vision that you carry when you look at a project as a function. But I'm sure you must get a lot of requests as to I want certain things like this, or they give you a Pinterest design. So how do you deal with those requests then?
So I think most of our project process is very client centric. So right from the day they're on board, we have a questionnaire that we begin the process with and all that. So we try understanding their lifestyle from day one.
Mhm.
So even if they come up with some request which says, I've seen this on Pinterest and
Right.
I want this in my house, we try and see how it fits into the entire jigsaw puzzle.
Right. But also, it once you start the project till the
Right.
completion, it takes time.
Right.
Right. And in between that, because design being very, very subjective, right? I might like olive green and you guys might hate olive green to the core,
Yeah.
right? So, a lot of times it happens. So, in this tenure, the client is going to places, talking to people and stuff, and then keep changing his mind in terms of the design and stuff. So that has happened with you, and how do you exactly deal with it?
It does happen a couple of times. However, we try to minimize it because, like Prashanthi mentioned, initially itself, the vision is clear for the project.
Mhm.
So when we develop our concepts and move on to the 3D views and all that, the client is already on the same page with us because
Okay.
we've had multiple rounds of discussions. But there might be cases where we would have to revisit the design. But again, we try to remind the client that we have to look at the project in a holistic perspective
Mhm.
and then take the decisions accordingly.
Nice. So, I believe you've been doing projects into different sectors, probably residential, commercial, hospitality. So, anything that's your personal favorite, or that you enjoy doing?
I think it's not if it's residential or retail or hospitality or anything of that sort, but I think it's mostly the client that we usually deal with.
Uh-huh.
So I think our favorite, I don't think we can pick one amongst these,
Mhm.
but it's ideally the person that we end up working with that makes each project very interesting.
It's a lot to do with the brief.
Yeah.
So if we resonate well with the client and if the brief sounds exciting and they are as excited about us
Mhm.
as the project as like we are,
Right.
so that really excites us.
Nice. So, what do you think? How is technology, making a difference in your industry, and how you as a design firm are using technology to make lives easier and design better homes?
I think definitely it has come a long way since during our graduation, because I think we were not using AutoCAD a lot in the first 3 years of our undergrad. But then eventually everything else was integrated with software. So we used AutoCAD more, SketchUp more, and softwares like that. So the same way now, everything that we do day in and day out, right from the time we start in the morning, is integrated with technology. Right. So in earlier we used to take printouts and hand them over to the sites, but now
Right.
we send WhatsApp messages with the entire drawing set.
Right.
So,
So makes the entire process a little more easier
Easier,
Yes,
to
yeah.
work.
faster, smoother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice. So, with sustainability being one major focus, how do you think as a firm do you actually have this as a concept in when you're designing your places?
I think us as a firm itself, in terms of the design approach, we are not the kind of, we don't really prefer doing a lot of paneling or using a lot of material in
Mhm.
general. Like
Mhm.
our projects are more product intensive rather than material intensive.
Okay.
So that way, our footprint already is on the lower side. And in terms of the use of local materials, vernacular products, and then sourcing things from local artisans, that is something that we have been conscious about. Although we would like to focus on it a little more,
Mhm.
but yes, we are conscious while making decisions.
Awesome. Any favorite project of yours that you want to talk about? Something which is probably close to your heart, or something which uh, probably a turning point that helped you shape your careers. One project or one incident that probably changed the entire game for you.
I think one project that we are often recognized for, and our clients say that they have visited the store and they really like it, is Varun Chakalam Studio.
Awesome.
So that project, I think, becomes special because of the way we approached it.
Mhm.
So it was a open site as a part of a bungalow, and wherein there was a tree right in the center, like as a part of that site boundary itself.
Uh-huh.
So it was more like a parking lot actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just a tree in the middle.
And you've converted that into
a
So
store.
it's a retail store.
oh wow.
But the reception of the store has a beautiful skylight, and the tree is still a part of that reception. So
Awesome.
when you look up, you still see the foliage coming through, and that kind of brings in a very warm ambience to the space.
So the tree is still the
It's still
way it is.
intact, yes. So, in fact, during the first site visit, when we were not on board yet, we were pitching for the project when we visited the site. The moment we entered and we were like, that tree has to stay. Like everything else is going to be designed around it, but that tree is not going anywhere.
Awesome.
So,
And where is the store located, by the way?
so the store is in Jubilee Hills, and
Okay.
many of our clients or the people we interact with mention that they've already been to the store.
Wow.
They get to know later that we've designed it.
And then probably people should go visit that store in case they want something designed that way.
Yes.
Awesome, wonderful. So now one question that's very, very personal. How do you think is this industry? I mean, is there a male dominance, or is it that is it female friendly? How do you think is the industry?
Fortunately, we've had good experiences so far. But yes, it is already like there are a lot of male people involved in this whole process.
Right.
But I think it is still supportive and.
But what I
I-
believe is as the entire industry, if I see, so when I talk about the industry, I talk about everyone, right? From the labor who are working at the site to the stores that you probably deal
Right.
with in terms of the products or whatever fittings you need and stuff. So there's a lot of male dominance around.
Especially on the sites, like you rightly mentioned.
Exactly. So how difficult or how easy is to communicate? Being females, right? How easy or how difficult it becomes to communicate with the blue collar workers? Because a lot of times they don't understand what we really want, and it becomes a little nasty to work around with workers and all. So how is your experience and how do you exactly deal with it?
So I think earlier it was the case that people were not very receptive, but then over the years I think it's only been easier. Like I wouldn't say it was tough. Um, Probably the vendors that we're dealing with, the labor that we're dealing with on site, they're equally open to women working on site.
Wow.
Is what it seemed like. In fact, if I had to give you one instance, when I was expecting, I was actually there at a site and. We were standing there for a very long time because it was close to the project handover stage. And the electrician there notices that, and he actually, went to the store, got me some water, and he said, "You sit down. It's okay." Like that was
Nice.
during
They're supportive.
the very supportive, yeah.
Nice.
So that way, I mean, there are still a few instances where some people are still call us sir. I think from ma'am it goes to ma'am, sir, or sir.
Madam,
But
sir.
Madam, sir. But I think,
But we're getting there.
Yeah.
Things are getting better.
Nice. It becomes a comfortable space to work as well, right?
yeah,
And also, I think the structure that we have to how we work, things are clear in the first instance. So when we hit the site, the staff, like the team on site, very well knows what goes where and all that. So we don't encounter as many unpleasant situations as such.
Nice. Awesome. So, 7-8 years that you've been in this, industry, working really hard, making space for yourself, and building a name for yourself. How easy is it being, managing your work and life balance? Because again, India again as a country where women are still supposed to take care of their house, no matter even if you're still working. So how difficult or how easy is it for you guys, or how is it been for you guys for the last 7-8 years that you've been doing this now?
I think it's definitely not an easy ride. There's a lot of juggling that happens that not a lot of people get to see. But luckily, that way, I think both of us have been very fortunate to have supportive families. In fact, they are the ones who keep pushing us forward, saying, you should do this. I mean, day in and day out, we're also very structured as people. I mean, both of us have calendars for everything. We're very organized with things. So I think that has made it easier over the years.
But I mean, the industry that works on calendars, I mean,
we try to make it
Yeah,
work.
we try.
but what I'm trying to understand, at times, being mothers, right?
Yes.
I mean, emotionally it becomes a challenge a lot of times, leaving kids behind, and so
The FOMO is always there.
maybe I can relate to what you're telling, because so when I started working, and then when I had to get my wife on board, so we had to leave our kids back home, and then I see that on her face that that she's happy to doing what she's doing, but at the time she misses things back home.
Yes.
So how is it with you? I mean, how do you make time for kids, and how do you really balance that?
I think one thing that we consciously do is focus on what we are doing and being fully committed to it. So while we are in the office, we are fully dedicated to this. And while we are at home, we are fully dedicated to being mentally present there. So that I think sort of helps us strike a balance. Of course, it is not easy, but we try.
A complete balance, I mean, I feel it's a myth. When someone talks about a work-life balance, it's a myth. I mean, if you've started something and if you're passionate about something, you will have to sacrifice a bit.
This is as much our baby.
Exactly.
Quite literally, yeah.
True. I mean, that's how you. I mean, only if you have that kind of attitude, or that kind of approach towards your work is when you flourish. Right. If it's some other fling that you're trying out with without commitment, it doesn't work out as well. And nothing great happens without sacrifices. Is it's part of your life, right? So I believe you must have worked on different projects, different niche. You must have worked on high-rise gated apartments, villas, farmhouses, commercial projects, retail spaces. So any one that is your favorite? What is something that you really love doing?
I think amongst everything that you mentioned, what really excites us is the brief that the client shares with us. and it's how much of a sync we are in with the client and how much of it resonates, in the conversation that we have with the client.
Mhm.
But I think if we had to name a few or pick a few, it would be the residential segment that we enjoy working on, as well as the retail segment. In fact, we are
Yeah, with the retail projects, I think we've recently finished Qmart Convenio. It's a compact retail space.
Awesome.
So that I think has been an interesting project, and we've also worked with a brand called Pelli Sandari that's into wedding related stuff.
Okay.
So that again was an exciting project, and again we are working on a few jewelry spaces that we're
Awesome.
looking forward to.
Awesome.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you so much for having us.
thank you for inviting us. It's
Pleasure is
a
all
pleasure
ours.
to be on the show.
The pleasure is all ours.